two individuals, they earn the same amount of money, but yet one becomes rich, the other becomes poor. The same money, same expenses, yet there is a big difference. Why? To understand this, you need to know the details. बारीकियां.
वो छोटी छोटी बातों से बनता, बारीकियों से, डिटेल्स.
The details that build the proof.
डिटेल्स जिससे सबूत बनते हैं.
The details that marks the difference between the rich and the poor.
डिटेल्स
The details that makes one appreciate and the other depreciate.
जो सबूत को कमजोर कर देते.
The details that silently eats away the difference. Knowing these details will help you be aware of the problem, and then we can go ahead in working towards it to fix it. When I got ready to sort out my finances, I wanted to know the intricacies, the truth behind the secret. मुझे वो सच जाना था. I don't know about you.
I need this truth. The truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth.
Okay, then if you want to know the truth, we will discuss the elements from the finance world which you should be aware of before you start managing your finances, before you start managing your money. We will discuss the basic elements. In this video, I've chosen the top 9 basic elements that are important according to me. We will know what they actually mean for you in your real life. We will understand how they work and the mindset you need to make it as an advantage for your life. हर एक चीज को ऐसे घुमा के देखो ताकि वो तुम्हारे लिए एडवांटेज बने. बट सिर्फ आप ही मत देखो ना. हिट द लाइक बटन एंड सब्सक्राइब दिस चैनल ताकि बाकी सब देखें. सो दिस वीडियो कैन रीच अ लॉट ऑफ पीपल. In the first 2 videos of this series, we have seen the importance of the difference and appreciation. But now comes the tricky question. I asked you at the very beginning of this video, when 2 different individuals, they earn the same amount of money and yet the difference is huge. How is this outcome different when everything else is same? The difference is knowing the details.
1.
So the most important factor is knowing the difference between saving and investing, both of which I have discussed in the previous videos of this playlist. If you haven't seen it, I request you to go back and see those videos first. Number 2, knowing about the assets and the liabilities. Simply put, Robert Kiyosaki made it way more simple than anyone else on this earth. He says, and that is absolutely true, is that the actual meaning of asset is something that brings money into your pocket, and liability is something that takes money out of your pocket. I have a wonderful video from the Rich Dad Company. Here it is.
In 1997, when I released Rich Dad, Poor Dad, that book caused a bit of an upset because I said, your house is not an asset. So in today's world, if you want to be rich, you have to know the difference between assets versus liabilities. One of the reasons so many people are struggling financially today is simply because they're calling their liabilities assets, such as your house is not an asset, your car is not an asset, and things like that. So very simply, when I was a young boy, my rich dad taught me, he says, you have to understand a financial statement. So this is an income statement, this is a balance sheet. Now this is overly simplified. He says, what creates something to be an asset is very simply assets, cash flow money into your pocket. And a liability takes money from your pocket. So for most people, their houses are not assets or liabilities because every month it takes money to live in that house. Even those that say, well, I don't have any debt on my house, I've paid it off. Look, you still have insurance, you still have upkeep, you still have maintenance. So let me explain this. If this is a house and I rent the house out and every month it's putting money in my pocket more than my expenses, then that house is an asset. Now that very same house, if it goes unrented or somebody trashes it or whatever they do, that very same house can be a liability. So a house can be an asset or a liability depending upon the most important word in business. It's called cash flow. Once again, if cash flows into your pocket, it's an asset. If cash flows out, it's a liability. I'm not saying don't buy a house, I'm just saying don't call a liability an asset.
So here is a very clear mindset that you should develop. Anything that brings money in your pocket is an asset. Anything that takes money out of your pocket is a liability. Number 3, debt. Money borrowed to cater to the shortfall of money. When the expenses are more than the funds that are available at hand, that is debt. The more you can utilize that to the right purpose for your life, it will make you better. And the more you use it for the wrong purpose, the deeper you will be on a hole. Debt is not bad, but piling up debt is bad. The mindset you need is to check and analyze the debt you have or the debt you're about to take and try and avoid bad debts as much as possible. Number 4, the time value of money. 10 years back, you could afford something for 100 rupees. You cannot afford that now. You cannot afford that now at the same price. We say time is money. And at the most basic level, the time value of money shows us in reality that time indeed is money. Which means the value of money now will not be the same in future. So as time passes by, the value of money depreciates. The problem is you cannot defeat this because you cannot defeat time. You cannot control time. So what you can do is to consider this in every aspect of your financial journey. That is the only thing which you can do. Number 5, inflation and its effect on the environment. The purchasing power of money decreases with time. And that's why it becomes very important for you to consider the effect of inflation in your investing journey. It is important for you to consider the effect of inflation while planning for your finances. What is the inflation of our country today, according to you? Well, Google says for 2023, the inflation was 5.46%. If you think that is the inflation you need to beat, you are wrong. You are wrong because that is your country's inflation data, the average inflation data for your country. Look at the data from MOPSI, the government site that gives us the inflation data. It also gives us the state-wise inflation figures for November 2023. So if you're in Odisha, don't be satisfied with a 5.5% inflation because according to MOPSI, the inflation there is 7.65%. And it doesn't end there. Further drill down, you should also check the inflation of the products that you actually consume in your state. And that could be different from the state average inflation or the country average inflation altogether. So the mindset you need to tackle is to park your money somewhere where at least it has got the ability to grow back the purchasing power it lost because of the inflation. To grow back the money to a point where it beats your rate of inflation and not the rate that the government publishes. Number 6, good and bad assets. Well, it's understood that assets makes you money. But the rate at which an asset makes you money puts that asset into a good asset or a bad asset category. Take for example, fixed deposit. It's an asset. It makes you money. It puts money in your pocket. That's an asset for sure. But for now, it doesn't beat the inflation. It doesn't beat my own inflation. So on the other hand, the assets that beats your rate of inflation makes you money with a permissible level of security and with a controlled amount of risk that you can handle is a good asset. So very careful selection of asset is very, very important. It is necessary to keep in mind what it is offering you and at what risk. This can make or break your investment journey. Number 7, the power of compounding. With a simple interest, you can earn returns only on your principal. Whereas for compound interest, you can earn money on your principal and as well as on the interest that you have accrued earlier. No wonder why Albert Einstein said, compound interest is the 8th wonder of the world. He who understands it earns it. He who doesn't pays it. So it's evident that we should avoid simple interest products. So even if we have any investment that gives us simple interest, we should modify and find ways to manipulate those investments to give compound investment returns. So here is the mindset. We should not be happy with just the returns, but we should look for ways to earn interest on interest too. Number 8, the rule of 72. Mathematicians say that you can find out how long it's going to take your money to double itself if you divide the number 72 by the interest rate. So let's say your parent gives you 1,000 rupees on your birthday. So if you want to plan to invest and grow that money to 2,000 rupees, how long will it take if you invest in a vehicle which gives you 6% returns? Which is 72 divided by 6, and that is 12 years. So in 12 years, your money would have doubled to 2,000 rupees. This is a rule, but it's also an approximate rule. But it doesn't give you an accurate result for short time, like maybe 1 or 2 years. But over a longer period of time, this is a primary rule which you can use to significantly calculate the approximate amount of time it would take for your money to double. And this is a very important rule because the game of money is the game of doubling your money. So the mindset behind taking this rule in this list is just not to see how fast you can grow your money, but how fast you can double your money. And that is the whole game of money. And last, finally, the rupee cost averaging. It's a process in which you invest fixed amount of money in regular intervals, irrespective of the market fluctuations. Now look at this example. From this table, it can be seen that with a total investment of 24,000 span over a period of 12 months, an investor received 466 units of mutual fund. The average price per unit comes to around 51.5 rupees, which is 24,000 divided by 466. This becomes very important for those who doesn't have time or the knowledge or the divine power to time and understand the market. And hence, they can take the most effective way to negate or nullify the volatility. So the mindset here is not to just run after short-term profits. It's not to try and time the market, but to take advantage of the long-term journey and enjoy the ride while you create your wealth. These are some very, very important factors which you should learn and know and keep it within yourself even before you start working on your finances, even before you start your simple investing journey. Once you're good with these financial planning, with these details, you're ready to do a financial planning for yourself, which is what we will discuss in our next video. So like this video and hit the bell icon so you'll be notified when the video comes out. And if you want to see the remaining videos of this series, this is the playlist that you should be visiting. Go ahead, click on it right now. As of this video, adios.